Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's Facebook Community Q&A. I'm Adam Hardman with the Regional Municipality of Buffalo. Once again, we're joined by Mayor Scott and members of Municipal Administration to answer your questions about flood recovery. We'll be with you today until about 3 o'clock, so make sure to get those questions in once again in the comments right below the live video, which will be available in its entirety following today's Facebook Live. So we want to make sure to get in as many questions as possible. So without further ado, I'll invite Mayor Scott to make some opening remarks.
Oh, thanks very much, Adam, and I hope everyone is doing well out there. I just wanted to give a few brief comments about jurisdiction. A lot of people believe or they don't understand. Sometimes we get questions about things like Canada Post and whether we as a municipality control Canada Post. Just so everyone understands it, I'm just going to take you through some of the issues so that everybody understands who controls what. So Canada Post is federally controlled, so that's the federal government. That is not the municipality. We can get information and we can lobby, but we do not control what Canada Post does. There is a website for Canada Post, and you can always check that out. We can do our best to answer questions, but just so that you're aware of that. So our MLAs, we have two MLAs. Now that's provincial. That's Layla Goodrich and Tanya Yao. You might have questions about the process to obtain DRP funding. And now that we have it approved, we lobbied hard for that as a municipality. Now that we have the DRP funding approved, if you have process questions, those are best relayed to Tanya Yao or Layla Goodrich. Those are the MLAs for this region. They're really easy to find online. You just Google their names. If you have questions about the COVID restrictions or the opening of businesses or opening of other items, they are also the ones to be given that question. That is provincial. We do not control that as a municipality. We sometimes work with them to make sure that things get open. But a lot of those, what should be open and what shouldn't be open, go to your MLAs, Layla Goodrich and Tanya Yao. Highway 63 and 881, I often get questions because people believe the municipality paves it or does any other things. That is provincial, and that is once again your MLAs. Schools, same thing. Hospitals, our hospital, Northern Lights Regional Health Center, that is a provincial facility controlled once again by your MLAs, Layla Goodrich and Tanya Yao, who are always very open to receiving questions. Alberta Health Services. So they've been the ones primarily responsible for a lot of what you've seen to do with COVID and the response to COVID. So if you have a question relating to that, we can do our best to try to answer as best as we can, but the real answer, the details are going to come from your MLAs, Layla Goodrich and Tanya Yao. So please reach out. So I just want to make sure that everybody understood some of the jurisdictional challenges we sometimes face. So with that, I will we'll get to the questions. Thanks again.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor Scott. And of course, there's a lot the municipality is doing as well. So head to rmwb.ca/recovery. Check out all the information related to flood recovery. As Mayor Scott's mentioned, a lot of that information will connect you to provincial resources or information or federal resources or information, but we're always going to be here for you no matter what. So check that out, rmwb.ca/recovery. You can also sign up for real-time updates. Of course, you can always follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We will be hosting once again our telephone town hall tomorrow evening at 6:10. That will focus on flood recovery, COVID-19, as well as any other municipal issues that you might have, as you can also share those questions today if you'd like. Next week, council will not be on Tuesday. We'll actually move to Wednesday evening beginning at 4 o'clock. Go to rmwb.ca/council for more information. So we're going to get to our first question here today. Many people have this coming online, so thank you for this. I know I have a few friends who are in this situation. Question for many people. They paid for their own evacuation expenses, including food and accommodations. How can I be reimbursed? So I'm just going to take this one. We do know that council, I think a few council meetings back, did pass a motion to make sure that reimbursement took place. We recognize with the challenges of COVID-19 and having close to 13,000 evacuees that many people, made their own luck. You're caught up in the line at the Oil Sands Discovery Center. Maybe you went to Edmonton or somewhere else. So hang on to those receipts. There is a process in place. Call the Pulse line, 743-7000. That's 780-743-7000. Make sure you got your name, contact information, and the Pulse line will connect you with the right people here at the municipality to make sure to walk you through that process. So, yeah, make sure you got those receipts, but that reimbursement plan is underway. So we have a number of questions coming into Pulse that I'm going to ask our Deputy Chief Administrative Officer, Matthew Huff, to actually help us with some of these, all related to the water. Of course, we are under a AHS boil water advisory. So I'm just going to read a few of these out, Matthew, and then maybe I'll leave them here for you. Actually, this last one here I'm going to just leave. Questions about the smell of the water. Perhaps you can comment on that. The watering of lawns, cleaning household appliances. Is my Brita filter good enough for water, or does it still need me to boil water? And then some questions about COVID. So I'll take those last few if you could answer the questions related to water, please.
Hi, everyone. As many of you will have noticed, the water coming out of your taps has a strong smell of chlorine. That chlorine level is safe. Of course, if you intend on ingesting that water, consuming that water, please continue to boil it until the boil water advisory is lifted. The level of chlorine in the water is set so that it will clean, disinfect the some 375 kilometers of pipe throughout our water system. The work is now well underway. I'm happy to report that our original estimates of 120 work days, although that still remains the case, many of those tasks are being done concurrently. So you will see some of the areas receive notice that the boil water advisory is lifted later this month. In the meantime, you will see notices coming to your doors. You'll see workers present as they flush hydrants throughout the community. You will also see various equipment being used in the streets as well. So please keep an eye out for that. As I say, the work is proceeding as quickly as possible. As far as watering your lawn, it's completely safe for that. And as far as cleaning household appliances, I want to bring your attention today to a new set of answers provided through our rmwb.ca/recovery page on cleaning appliances. All appliances manufacturers have their own guidance on this, so we talk you through how to source that information and how to go about cleaning your appliances once the boil water advisory is lifted. Brita filters, I've spoken about this on previous Facebook Live events, are convenient for addressing the taste of water. However, it is not addressing the safety of it. And so regardless of whether you're using a Brita filter or not, you should still be boiling water that you intend on consuming. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Matthew. Make sure to get those questions in the comment boxes right below the video. The video will once again, of course, available in its entirety following today's community Q&A with Mayor Scott and members of municipal administration. I think I'm going to go to our Chief Administrative Officer, Jamie Doyle, for this next couple questions. First one, of course, we're still in the response phase of COVID-19. Alberta Relaunch Strategy Stage 1 started last Thursday. So you can find out more information on that at alberta.ca/COVID-19. For municipal information, that's rmwb.ca/COVID-19. So a couple questions here, Jamie. One is related to COVID-19. I guess the other one as well is about municipal offices. So the first one is, if I see people not participating in proper social distancing, what should I do? And are the municipal offices open? So maybe you can speak to that and how it relates.
Thank you, Adam, and thanks for the questions. First, I'll start with if I see people participating or not participating in proper social distancing, what should I do? It's a good question. I'm sure we all see it from time to time. First thing you should do is go to alberta.ca/COVID-19. There is a complaint section in there, and it is a provincial order, so they like to handle some of those things and keep track of them. Alternatively, you could also call our pulse line 743-7000, and we can send some bylaw and RCMP members around. We're currently kind of roving around the community to make sure that some of these more frequent areas are certainly adhering to the social distancing requirement. However, if you see some, please note date and time and call it in to us or go through the provincial website. The second, are the municipal offices open? They're not open to the general public currently. We haven't taken our workers back in just yet in any type of real form or fashion. We have essential workers, such as myself and some of our senior leadership team, that are in the office. We're practicing social distancing and all the like. We're just taking care of some core services. So no, we're not open to the public just yet, but stay tuned. We'll follow the guidelines and the requirements of our provincial partners before we do so.
Well, thank you for that, Jamie, and thank you for those questions. And of course, we have a number of questions coming in on our pulse line, so we're going to look to work those in as well. Of course, tomorrow night, our telephone town hall, you can connect with us once again. That begins at 6:10 p.m. next week. We have a council meeting beginning at 4 p.m. on Wednesday, not Tuesday. And once again, our telephone town hall at 6:10 p.m. So some questions here about the Red Cross, so I'm just going to take these myself. Question is, what is the contact for the Red Cross? The Red Cross is located on the corner of, I guess it's Franklin and Morrison, right? Kind of on that, near the corner anyway. You can call them at 1-800-863-6582 between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. redcross.ca is their website. They still have cleanup kits for anyone who is still cleaning up from the 2020 flood. Of course, there is $600 available from the Red Cross for any household that was evacuated. That's in addition to the emergency funding from the government of Alberta, which you can still apply for at alberta.ca/emergency. And I'm going to take this next question as well. It's about the food bank. Can you tell me the hours and location of the temporary food bank? So as many of you know, the food bank was impacted. Their main office is downtown. However, there are two temporary locations. One is at 187 Mackenzie Boulevard. That's across the parking lot from Legacy Car and Truck Wash in Gregoire. They also have the location at Fort City Church in Thickwood. So if you're north of the bridge, you're advised to go to Thickwood. If you're south of the bridge, you can go to Gregoire. You can also go to, I believe it's woodbuffalofoodbank.ca/assistance. Further details are available there. So thank you for that question. Also, any residents that are still in need of water, those supports are available at the food bank. One thing my CAO here, Jamie, asked me to mention, the Planning and Development Office in Timberley at 309 Powder Drive at Timberley Landing is open to the public. The hours are available on our website at rmwb.ca. So that's for permitting inquiries. Obviously, that's a major component of the recovery, remediation, and rebuild process. So, of course, all COVID-19 physical distancing requirements are being met at that location, but that is one location where municipal offices are currently open. Of course, municipal services do not stop 24/7. We'll continue to deliver services remotely as best as possible. And just Jillian's reminded me that the website is woodbuffalofoodbank.com, not .ca/assistance. So, of course, I was pretty smart there. I came back to the podium without my next question, so I'm going to have to go retrieve it, but make sure to keep those questions coming in. So we're going to go to our DCAO for this next set. First question is from Trina, and the next question is from Lana, related to playgrounds. Trina asks, why are playgrounds open, but kids can't go on equipment? And when will parks be open? So, Matthew.
Thank you for your question regarding parks. Parks are being opened slowly but surely in accordance with Alberta Health Services direction. And part of that is to limit what's referred to as touch points. So that is surfaces that are not being disinfected on an ongoing basis. And of course, unfortunately, at the moment, that means that the playground equipment is not being made accessible to children at this time. We're hopeful that in time, as the relaunch continues, we of course will open those back up for public use. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew, and thank you for those questions. I'm going to go to the mayor for the second part of this next set of questions about local business. So the first one, I can take that. Is there a list of businesses that have opened downtown? Probably your best bet is to actually contact the business directly, whether that's on their website, through phone number, on their social media. I know personally a lot of the ones that I access, they are communicating that, so you can easily get a hold of them. I do know the Wood Buffalo Economic Development last Friday announced their new business portal for all the supports and information you might need. So you head to their website. There's a portal there for all that information about those supports. They also have a contact number there, which I believe is a partnership with the Fort McMurray Chamber of Commerce, NABA, as well as the Fort McMurray Construction Association and Build Wood Buffalo. So thank you once again to them. That's a good resource for businesses. But I'm going to go to Mayor Scott for this one, if that's all right, Mayor. The question is, what is being done to support our local businesses? So Mayor may want to speak about the property tax rate bylaw that was passed last week, as well as some of the other supports that are available and our commitment to local business. Mayor.
Oh, thanks very much for that question. That's something that's very near and dear to my heart. As you know, that the municipality put out a release not that long ago indicating that we are supporting local business as part of what we're doing personally. I've certainly encouraged everybody who's rebuilding and using local contractors to use local contractors whenever possible. I've also tried to put out the word to our local contractors that they need to be competitive. We need to make sure that our customers in this region are getting the best prices available. So we are very focused on using local contractors, and I want the money to stay in this region as much as possible. That's going to make this region sustainable. We also, I think as many of you are aware, gave the biggest release in $168 million, the biggest tax deduction over a previous year. It's $168 million, and that is going to benefit everybody. It's going to benefit businesses, going to benefit individuals, going to benefit industry. So I just want you to keep that in mind as well. We also have a number that people can phone. If you are a business that's looking for help, call the ECDEV line, which is 1-855-923-2338. We really need position business to bounce back. It's something that's absolutely crucial, and it's something that I really believe in. It's a challenge at any time, but it's a real challenge when you have to stimulate an economy that's been affected by a quarantine. So there's going to be a huge effort put in, and we've seen other levels of government step forward. So I'm cautiously optimistic about what I'm seeing, but as a municipality, we're doing everything we can to certainly make sure business can go forward in a very strong way.
Well, thank you very much for that, Mayor Scott. And again, a reminder, of course, that the Wood Buffalo Economic Development Portal, I'll reiterate once again, all those things are a partnership with Fort McMurray Chamber of Commerce, NABA, as well as Fort McMurray Construction Association and Build Wood Buffalo. So thank you once again for all you're doing to support our business community. And thanks, Mayor Scott, for that response. So we'll move forward. Question here from Karen, and I can take this one, and then my next question will be for our CAO. Karen is asking, can something be done with Superstore? It's not safe. There's way too many people. So I know we mentioned earlier, I'll ask Jamie to come up once again, but you can have that complaint, you can issue that complaint, at alberta.ca. There is a complaint line there. You can always connect with bylaw services as well. We are doing regular patrols, but I'll ask Jamie to come forward.
Thanks, Adam, and thanks, Karen, for the question. And thank you for bringing it forward. We can certainly have a conversation with Superstore in particular. However, as Adam mentioned, you can please go to the provincial website as well, /COVID-19, or call our Pulse line anytime you see or have an issue with some of these social distancing. So we'll have somebody go by, monitor, and have a conversation with the store manager. Thank you.
I'd like to thank everyone for getting their questions. This is also all the questions coming in on my phone as I try to navigate getting the questions from the comment boxes as well as the ones coming through my pocket, but we're happy to try to answer as many as we can and provide the right information. Question here from Craig once again. And we'll go, I know Craig maybe asked this last week, and I know that I'm familiar with it because I kind of live in the neighborhoods, but I'll ask Jamie to come back up. Craig asks, how are you dealing with the ongoing drag racing, late night antics going on at SAP, which is Syncrude Athletic Park in Timberley, every single night? Bylaw says RCMP, RCMP has more than enough to deal with. So, Mr. CAO, if you could take that.
Thank you, Adam, and thank you, Craig. And like Adam, I also experience similar things happening in Parsons along Heritage Drive there, so I'm very familiar with the antics. However, I will bring it up with the RCMP, certainly the officer in charge, to make sure that there's some more patrols to keep that under wraps. The last thing we want is somebody getting hurt. Thank you.
So we'll go back to Matthew Huff for this next question. Apologies for the delay there. Just made sure, it reminded me I had another one from earlier I'd like to get in. Both about parks and some of the works of our beautification under public works. So kind of related, Matthew. I'll leave them both here for you. First question is, what parks are open? I know that information is available at rmwb.ca/recovery. Kind of two initial phases of it. There's an announcement last week and then one towards the end of last week, so check that out. But Matthew can give you some further details. And then, will the municipality be installing flowers?
As Adam pointed out, this information is available online, but I'll just run through it. Our staff are involved in opening for public use ball diamonds with gates, dog parks, community gardens, municipal playgrounds, tennis courts, of course, not equipment or spray parks, green spaces in municipal parks, basketball courts, ball diamonds without gates, cricket fields, running tracks, soccer fields and other sporting fields, skateboard parks, trails and walkways, and in areas affected by the flood, the amenities, although they remain closed, the crews continue to clean and assess the damage. Once that process is complete, the amenities that I just mentioned will also be opened. As far as the second question, will the municipality be installing flowers? Thanks for this question. Our parks staff do an absolutely beautiful job. Our arborists are very skilled, and they will be putting out flowers this year. So look for that. It's quite a testament to our operations that we've been able to manage through COVID-19 and the flood, and our workers are still able to undertake some of the things that make our city beautiful, our region beautiful. So thank you for that question. Appreciate it.
Thank you for that, Matthew. And you may be aware that you can find out all the latest COVID-19 information, alberta.ca/COVID-19, as well as from a municipal perspective, rmwb.ca/COVID-19. Of course, I believe currently only 2 active cases in the entire regional municipality of Wood Buffalo. I don't believe there's been a new active case in Fort McMurray in the last 18 days. So question here from Adele, and it's about the registry. Of course, that is a provincial responsibility, but we will answer it. Adele asks, and a good question, when is the registry open for road tests? Road tests are suspended until the public health emergency ends, so we're still under that provincially. Cancelled road tests can be rebooked at line at no additional charge once it is safe to resume. So presumably there'll be an update from Service Alberta, from the province, when it is safe to do so. So, of course, you can get your questions in the comment box right below the live video, which will be available in its entirety following today's live broadcast. I'm just going to step to the side and grab another question. I'm really messing up today, folks. So we'll go back to Matthew Huff, our DCAO, about our AHS boil water advisory, which we're still under effect here in Fort McMurray. So thank you for those questions. Very important. 120 days of work that we're looking to condense into 60 days. So we know it's a top of mind concern across the region. So I'll read both of them out, Matthew, and then I'll leave them here for you. Question here from Jennifer. Can you clarify in what order the boil water advisory gets lifted? Which reservoirs are first, and so on? And then Karen asks, do we need to sanitize our hands after washing them?
Thank you, Jennifer. Alberta Health Services has lifted the boil water advisory for Anzac and Gregoire Lake Estates. Of course, the advisory remains in place for Fort McMurray and Sapere Creek Estates. I'm going to read this one so that I get the information across as clearly as possible. The plan to address Alberta Health Services requirements is a 5-phase plan. It was launched on May 8. And this involves flushing and decontaminating the water treatment plant, which I can tell you has already been completed. The second phase involves temporarily installing flushing and diffusing equipment on fire hydrants and continuously flushing them to turn over water from the Thickwood and Timberley reservoirs and distribution networks. Phase 3 will flush the lower town site and waterways, followed by Beacon Hill and Sapere Creek in Phase 4, and then a final 20-day flush of the entire system in Phase 5. As I said earlier, a number of these activities are going on concurrently. In fact, one of the initial priorities is to get the hospital back on the main network. At the moment, the hospital is being serviced by truck to ensure that the water is potable. One thing that I'll ask residents to look out for is equipment that will be in the roadway area, not the least of which are a lot of small white pucks. These are dechlorination pucks. There's no concern with these objects. They're inert, but they don't have to be cleaned up. Our crews will take care of that. The other question that was posed, do we need to sanitize our hands? So this is advice of Alberta Health Services, is that after you wash your hands, that you use some form of sanitizer to increase the effectiveness. That advice still stands. I personally am comfortable with washing my hands in the Timberley area, which is where I live, with the water coming from the tap right now. So to go the extra mile, sanitizer, yes, but we're certainly at a point now where the water quality is getting better and better. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that, Matthew, and thank you for those questions. Of course, you can head to rmwb.ca/recovery. All the information, including a lengthy list of frequently asked questions about the Alberta Health Services Boil Water Advisory, is available there. Of course, a question that's on many people's minds, so thank you for getting those questions in. Of course, in addition to today's Facebook Live, you can join us and connect with municipal leadership as well as many others across the region tomorrow night on our weekly telephone town hall. That begins at 6:10 p.m. You can get the details at rmwb.ca/recovery. Next week, we'll have a council meeting beginning at 4 p.m. That will be on Wednesday, May 27th, not Tuesday, May 26th. That was moved to accommodate the public hearing for a bylaw on temporary RV parking in recovery. And of course, next week, once again, we'll have our telephone town hall as well as an additional Facebook Live. So thank you for joining us. And of course, 24/7, the Pulse line, 780-743-7000. rmwb.ca/pulse. This next question I'll take myself, then we'll go back to our DCAO for the next two. This one is, when will the courthouse reopen? Wouldn't you like to know, the person that asked the question? Just kidding. We don't control that as a municipality. The courthouse is a provincial responsibility. So certainly advise you to connect with them when that may be the case. But certainly if you send a note in, we can go try to get that information for you. But we don't have any information on that. That's a responsibility of the provincial government. So next question we'll go to Matthew for. Both about kind of recovery here, one related to construction season, the other about green spaces and riverbanks downtown. First one is, with construction season starting, how will the municipality ensure we are safe? And is the municipality going to clean up the green spaces and riverbanks downtown?
These are great questions today. I really appreciate it. As far as the cleanup of what we refer to as our waterfront. That is part of our work plan. In fact, there have been contractors active in the area already, and our Public Works park staff are going to be will continue to monitor that work and ensure that it jives with additional work that we're planning to do on the waterfront in the very near future. As far as the construction season goes, we are getting underway. All contractors are required to submit a COVID-19 safety plan to augment their more typical safety program. Our health and safety officers are working with our engineering and public works staff to ensure that contractors are prepared and, of course, worked with throughout the construction season to ensure that not only their workers but the public remain safe. And just one clarification from something that I said a few moments ago. It's a question Trina poses. When you say Beacon Hill and Sapre Creek, does that include Prairie Creek? It does. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that, Matthew, and thank you, Trina, and the others for those very important questions. Happy to answer them here today once again on Facebook. Mayor Scott, joined by members of Municipal Administration, taking your questions on flood recovery. We've got about 30 minutes left, a little bit less than that now, so make sure you get your questions in the comments right below the online video, which will be available in its entirety following today's Facebook Live event. I'm going to go to our Chief Administrative Officer, Jamie Doyle, for this next question. Is downtown revitalization still going ahead? Now, obviously, we like to say in the community and the municipality, revitalization never stops. It's always a priority. But certainly in recovery from COVID-19, a once-in-a-century public health pandemic, as well as a 1 in 100 year, a 1% chance of having this flood event, certainly there's going to have to be some rethinking in order to best support the community and best support the local economy. So I'll ask Jamie to come up and give an update.
Thank you for that question. I can't remember who posed it, and thank you, Adam. It is still happening with a different flair. So what we're going to be doing is understanding recovery and the projects that need to happen as a result of the flood, and try to marry them so there's some synergy between the revitalization, beautification work, and recovery work. However, as Adam said, we're in some unprecedented times here that we're reevaluating what we do and how we do it and when we do it. So yes, in short answer, there is some portions of revitalization going to occur. Thanks.
Well, thank you for that, and thank you for that question. Of course, as we're going through this recovery process, the questions become more varied and more expansive, so we make sure to check out rmwb.ca/recovery. A lot of great information there, but contact us anytime through the Pulse line or follow us on social media. We know that this is going to, in many ways, get more complex and more challenging, but we'll be here for you every step of the way. Question here for the DCAO, Matthew. Question is from Ryan. Will the city refund the fees collected for curbside recycling? Now, we do know that curbside recycling, there was no change to that service. There was a little bit of delay, obviously, in the downtown areas. We do know that fees at the landfill are completely waived for all residents and businesses at this time. Of course, we did reduce, council voted to reduce water billing fees as well. So there's a number of initiatives that were passed that should help reduce, I guess, some of the burden on residents. But we'll allow Matthew to weigh in on that in more detail.
Thanks, Ryan. No, at the moment, we don't have anything in place to refund fees collected for curbside recycling. Our operations have continued regardless of the fact that we're not collecting and sorting recyclable materials at this time. The reason for that is COVID-19 and the risk to our staff. We will be starting up this program again as soon as Alberta Health Services suggests that it is safe to do so. I would encourage you to consider the adjustments that we've already made that Council has endorsed, particularly to water bills. The fixed fee amount that people typically pay is going to be the relief that's provided. So stay with us. We will continue to do our best to put back in place all of the programs that typically offered, and do so as quickly as possible.
So thank you for that, Matthew. And I'm sorry to leave you with the bad news on the response, but certainly lots of thought process put into how we can support residents, whether it's the $100 million announcement in disaster recovery program funding from the government of Alberta that happened, I think, about 2 weeks ago now. You can head to the website to check out all the details. Make sure you apply for that. If you were impacted by the flooding event, that's open until August 5th. Of course, Mayor Scott mentioned Council's historic $168 million property tax reduction from 2019. That'll certainly stimulate and help the entire economy in the region. $2.4 million in those water fees reduction, also a major support, as well as waiving landfill fees, development fees, and other things. But certainly much more work to be done as a community and as a municipality. So we'll go back to our DCAO, Matthew Huff, for these next pair of questions. One related to flushing of hydrants, the other about some construction work. First, we'll start with Bill. Might be Bill Duncan, I don't know. Maybe it was Bill Duncan. So, Bill, good to talk to you. I know you're probably impacted by the flood, so I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully we can connect soon for a pint, my friend. But hopefully you're doing okay, and hopefully we'll chat soon. So, Bill's question, does the flushing of hydrants usually take 36 plus hours? And is it not customary to warn householders before running hoses through their gardens or driveways? And then Tracy asks, when you are paving Hospital Street, not patching it, pave the whole road. It's got more holes than pavement. You're probably not wrong about that, Tracy. So I'll go to Matthew for those.
Bill, you're right that running hoses through yards would typically be preceded by at least a knock on the door. So we'll follow up on that for you with our crews, recognizing that they are under significant pressure to do the work as quickly as possible. But point taken, and we'll follow up on that. As far as the time it takes to flush hydrants, it really depends on what area of the community is being flushed at that time. You can appreciate that in larger areas there's a larger or longer length of pipe throughout that area that needs to be flushed. So it really depends on the area that's being dealt with. As far as Hospital Street is concerned, as you know, Willow Square is almost complete. After that construction, we will be looking at the rehabilitation of the infrastructure in the area, which includes Hospital Street itself. It's not typical for municipalities or even constructors to tend to roadways until construction is complete because of the damage that may be caused during construction. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that, Matthew. And if you want to get your questions in, make sure to get them in there in the comment box right below the live video. We know the questions are slowing down online last we checked, so we're going to make sure to stay with you through 2:45. We'll make a reassessment at that time. But, of course, you can always contact us on the Pulse line, 24/7, 780-743-7000, rmwb.ca/pulse. Go to rmwb.ca/recovery for all the latest flood recovery information. Telephone town hall tomorrow night, 6:10. Council next week, 4 o'clock on Wednesday. We'll do another Facebook Live next week and continue with our telephone town hall. So thank you once again for joining us. This question will be for Mayor Scott, and a great question that came in on our Pulse line. Between the pandemic and the flood, it's been a hard year. What is your outlook for the rest of 2020? Mayor.
Hello. That's a very astute analysis. It has been a very difficult year, and plus we have the economic downturn, and we have a boil water advisory going on at the same time. So we are facing many challenges, but in every challenge, there's also opportunity. And I am optimistic. A lot of people are surprised when I say that, but we have a lot of things that are happening in this region. There is a lot of projects that are underway. I'm foreseeing that oil is slowly increasing from where it was, so we're starting to see an economic recovery slight. It may take a year or a little bit longer to see a more full-on recovery, but I see that there's going to be new opportunities once the relaunch strategy gets fully in place and we have people back out in the community. Everyone's enjoying everything. There's no better place. I've always said this. There's no better place for opportunity than right here. We have billion-dollar industries in our backyard. Those aren't going anywhere. Those are here. So I really see this as a place of opportunity. We have a strong relationship with industry. There's going to be more businesses opening back up. We're here to support businesses. That's why we did the large tax reduction this year. So I think as far as the municipality is concerned, there's a lot of work to be done, but I see this as a real opportunity to get that work done.
Well, thank you for that, Mayor Scott, and thank you for the question. Certainly a year of challenges, but ones that we'll overcome once again as a community. Of course, a number of supports are also available from the provincial and federal governments. Check out their websites. There's announcements every day about different types of supports that are helping all of us through what's really a globally unprecedented time in terms of COVID-19. Of course, we're also dealing here, like Mayor Scott said, with some economic challenges that we've seen before, but couldn't come at in a lot of ways a worse time, but of course the flood as well. So question here from Jamie about the telephone town hall. That's, of course, every Thursday at 6:10. Jamie asks, please stop calling my home with a toll-free number. Don't forget, people work night shift here. If I have questions regarding anything, I'll call you. So Jamie, no problem. Of course, want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to communicate and support residents. I know on those telephone town halls, we have had upwards of 12,000 residents. So that's a sellout at Shell Place pretty much, depending on the configuration. Joining us, we're always happy to have them, but we know that not everybody wants to receive that call. So you can call the Pulse line, just provide your name and number, and we'll happily remove you from the call-out list. Of course, that telephone town hall this week will shift a little bit, just providing this information for you once again. Obviously, flood recovery, very top of mind for many people, but of course, COVID-19 and really any other municipal questions you might have, we'll make sure to have a number of panelists from Mayor Scott to our MLAs to our CAO, DCAO, our Director of Emergency Management, take your questions tomorrow night beginning at 6:10. So Jill, I'm just going to ask for our next question if we have it. This question about Canada Post, and I'm with you too, because I got a couple of pairs of shoes trying to support the local economy. They're coming my way, but of course I got to be patient. Obviously the top priority has to be people that were impacted, but certainly a question on everybody's mind. Sorry, can't read the name here, but they're asking, where is the Canada Post temporary pickup? So for those that were impacted, the new temporary location is at 250 McKay Crescent in Gregoire. So the way they're setting it up is pickup is by last name. They are open, I believe, looks here, Monday through Saturday from 9 to 5. That first hour is for seniors as well as those who might be immunocompromised due to COVID-19. So we ask people to please respect that. Other than that, if your last name begins from A to F, like me, you go on Monday and Wednesday. So I guess I got to leave early today. No, just kidding. Go up to Gregoire. If your last name is from G to M, your day is Tuesday and Friday. And if your last name is N to Z, your day is Thursday and Saturday. Once again, the hours for that McKay Crescent. Yeah, McKay Crescent location is 250 McKay Crescent and Gregoire. The hours 9 to 5, but that first hour for seniors and those who are immunocompromised. I really struggle with that one, but head to canadapost.ca. So we're going to wrap things up for today on this community Q&A with Mayor Scott. Before that, we'll hear from the mayor, but thank you once again for joining us. Very pleased you could get your questions in about flood recovery, COVID-19, as well as any other municipal issues. This will last to hear from me, but we'll see you at the telephone town hall as well as next week. To close things out today, Mayor Scott.
There was just one quick issue I wanted to make sure everyone was aware of, that if you are getting work done on your property, make sure that your contractor is getting permits for every step along the way. And if you're not sure what permits are required, if you'd like the information yourself, call Planning and Development. As was stated earlier, that is one of the offices that's open. Sometimes what happens is the work is done and then people try to get the permits at the end of the job. Permits should be got all through the process. So please encourage your contractor, or if you're a contractor and watching this, get your permits as you go along the process so that you're not waiting for a permit in the end or a whole bunch of permits. So please do that. Thanks very much, everyone. Stay strong and stay safe.